We should have started at 6 p.m. We should have. Unfortunately, and I will still say it's for a reason, God have everything planned. We would plan, but He has a greater plan. And His greater plan is that we should start at this time. So we are starting at this time. All right? First, I want to give praise to Almighty God for bringing us through and having us here this evening. A very good evening to all of you, and a very good evening to past Deputy Mayor, who is with us. I love her so much. And a wonderful evening to our Speaker, Officer Ayum. I love to hear this woman speak. God has blessed some of us, not only with voice, but with a talent to speak. Silence the phone, please, ladies. And further, I'm going to ask you to stand, and Mrs. Grache Francois is going to open us in a word of prayer.
Heavenly Father, Lord, as we gather here this evening, we know the reason, we know the purpose why. Whatever discussed here this evening, let it be fruitful and productive. What the speaker has to say, let us take it, Lord, and listen and understand and gain knowledge of this topic here this evening. Bless each and every one here. Bless all the ladies and the gentlemen in our presence. The Lady Vice Miss Joan added blessings upon her from the crown of her head to the sole of her feet, and all other members of the executive of the Women's League. Our speaker, Lord, guide her and let her deliver. Heavenly Father, Lord, I ask this in no other name but in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Have a seat. Second for all, on domestic violence. We had one in 2021. And what is so nice is that a couple of days ago, you get a reminder on your phone. And it came up, and I said, wow, just the week that we were going to have it is when it popped up to remind me of that evening. Most of us believe that it's only when a man beats you, it's domestic violence. But electorate is going to let you know it is far more than that. And we are saying as women, stop. We don't want it any longer. So you're putting your hands up and we're asking you to stop the violence, stop the rape, stop the abuse, stop it. And some people take it because you're afraid of your relatives and what they will say. You're afraid of the church and what is going to happen. And you're also afraid of your children, you know. Because hear what you say. If I leave, how do I get the food? How do I go to school? How am I going to mind them? Huh? Being a single mother for me was the greatest thing. I enjoy it. And before I go on the speaker, I want to let you know what made me conscious. My husband and I are separated. My husband and I are separated. Welcome. I am not my husband. I want it. God bless you. I will finish this and then I'll let the MP bring you some greetings before we bring on the speaker. And I was saying we separated and he went his way. And I was alone with the children. And one evening, I heard a car stopped. And the next thing I know, my son was in the gallery. He was already going secondary school. And I asked him, because I know the rolling of the car, I asked him, how you got home? He said, Mommy, Daddy dropped me. I said, Daddy dropped you? He said, yes. I said, okay. My husband was not a beater. He was not a smoker. He was not a man who would quarrel. But my God, he couldn't have enough women. So I was a crying wife. And you know what my son said to me? Mommy, I don't mean to be disrespectful. Imagine hearing a 12-year-old telling you this. Mommy, I don't need to be disrespectful. I don't mean to be disrespectful. But can I tell you something? And I said, yes. He said, I'm happy that he left. I don't hear you crying anymore. And that made me a stronger mother. That let me know working 24/7 was not a regret. It was a challenge, yes, because I had to make sure that everything went well. But I was happy that I made the decision because my children wasn't hearing me crying anymore. All right? I want you to take that and put it along with what the lecturer will tell you and make a decision in your life if you have one to make. All right? I'm going to let my MP give you wonderful greetings.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Nice to see you. Very happy to see this table this evening. This is a wonderful program by the South Family East Women's League. I'd like to thank everyone, all the guys who organized this wonderful event. We intend to do a lot more of these in South Family East. You know, as you heard earlier, and I understand the topic of what we're discussing this evening. And I have to say that in recent years, you know, I've been looking at men, looking at how men operate, and then looking at how women operate in our society. And it's clear to me that women are the backbone of this society and many others. Women are dedicated, they work hard, and in many cases, you know, support things that are meaningful. I have to admit that I have found many of, you know, our men not holding up their end of the bargain. That's a tough thing. As a woman, that's something you will have to, of course, deal with and figure out how do we fix this and what can we do. All the statistics show that two-parent households receive better outcomes. But that certainly does not mean that you should stay in a situation where your mental health is tested or where you're being physically abused. That certainly does not say that. I don't think there's anywhere in the Bible that says that either. You know, a lot of people use the Bible as a reason to stay in bad situations. I would never support or condone that. If you are someone or you know someone that needs help in a tough situation, please be the voice of reason and give that person some good advice. If you can't do it yourself, please reach out to our San Francisco office here. We have contacts with many of the various agencies within Trinidad and Tobago that are designed to help women in difficult situations. Okay? I'm not going to be here too long because it's not about me. Tonight it's about the ladies, so I'm going to let her. Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
This time I want all your ears, your eyes, everything focus, and no less a person than our speaker for this evening, Officer TRUDY-ANNA AYUM.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
How are you all feeling?
Good.
Let me ask that question again. How are you all feeling?
Great.
Great. And you are always great because you are a child of God. Always remember that. So you're not just good, you are great. This afternoon I'm here to share with you information about domestic violence, and you'll get a little lanyard, as we like to say at this side, and what's going on with our youths in society. But let's deal with the domestic violence first. So we are all adults, and at some time in our life, if not now, if you are single, you would have been involved in a relationship. And if you're in a present relationship now where you're experiencing certain challenges, you may look at it as, it's something that will pass. But does it really pass? Does it ever really go away? We stay, and we stay, and we stay on until you get flowers. And by that I mean, we have our friends on the coffee across the road from each other. They help with the flowers. You all know what I'm speaking about,
Yes.
right? Yes. Good. Good. So why do we stay? Let me hear the reasons. Why do we stay? Speak to me. Finance. Children. They're so lucky now. And as we have gentlemen in our midst, I don't want them to feel out of it, because you know that we do have men who are victims.
Yes.
So I would like to get a feedback from the gentleman in the room. Why do you stay? Comfort.
I think sometimes men are ashamed to say
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, exactly so.
Some are fair.
Some have fear. Yes, and it's true. So in my profession, we get both sides of the fence. We get the male and we get the female. But because it is so known that it's the women who are getting the abuse, and the woman, you get the woman to the forefront. But ladies, when we allow ourselves to experience this abuse, what are you doing to you? Your self-esteem goes out the window. Your mental health goes out the window. Your physical health also goes out the window. Because if one of the symptoms you're experiencing is a cough and a kick and a push and a slam and a chair across your back or a high fall over a flight of stairs, you will get internal injuries. And sometimes when you get it, you are so ashamed, you don't want to go to the hospital, you don't want to go to the doctor. You do self-care at home. And the self-care mightn't be what it is needed. And years to come, you hear you have cancer. Because why? You had clot blood, as they will call it. You have inflammation festering inside of you and brought on this. It is time, if you are not a member of the domestic violence circle, which I hope you are not, and you know someone, you are there to help them. There are stages of domestic violence. And we don't always understand it. You might know someone who is a victim of domestic violence, and you might say, okay, I'm talking to them, I'm telling them to do this, I'm telling them to do that. I even helped them move out, and behind my back, they went back. There are 3 stages. The first stage, when it happens, they want to leave. They want to leave. So, at that time, their emotions are high. So that emotion is played on them, so they might use you to help them get away. But they go back. And then it happens again. And then this time is the emotions and the mental, because you know what? Even though you have been speaking to them, it's not that it isn't registering. There are certain things that they are saying that that you said that is registering with them. And they say, okay, I will give it a try. And this time they might go. First time they might go for a few days. The second time they might go for 2 weeks. And then they come back. Upon that return, there's a honeymoon cycle in there where everything is nice and the promises are made and you feel comfortable, and then something happens and there's an explosion, and at that third time they may really leave physically on their own. They might say, okay, enough is enough, I'm gone. But in some instances, they may not be that fortunate. They may be living in a body bag, as you would have seen over the years via the news, or you might have known someone who went that way. You have to understand the stages of leaving. You, the person who is there helping them, you cannot get angry when they go back. That is when they need the support. Because the first time, as I said, it's their emotions. I thought he loved me, and I just do everything for him. And why does he's doing this to me? And I'm not taking it anymore. And they go. And when they calm down, those same words that they use, he loves me, I'll forgive him, I'll go back and try. So you go back. They go back. You have to say, okay, I'm standing with you. Know that I am here. That is not the time to turn your back on them. You might get fed up because everyone has a breaking point, but you have to be strong for them. So the second time comes around, and the violence would have escalated, and they leave. You help them again. This time they stay away for 3 weeks or maybe a month, and you start to feel comfortable and happy. Good, it's working out. I hope they stand strong, I hope this and I hope that. Not knowing that when you are not there, I want to talk to you. I can talk to you for a few minutes. Oh gosh, you're getting on so far. You know I love you. Oh gosh. Give me a little chance now. I don't know what's going on. You know I'm working. So things had me upset. Okay, give me a chance, please. You all know those stories, right?
Yes.
And you say, and they break you down. And you say, okay, I'll give you a chance. And you hear all the nice things. And you go back. And you enter into the honeymoon phase, and everything is nice. It may last as long as 3 months. And then something you do is going to trip them off again. The tea could be too hot, the rice could be too hard, the shirt didn't wash good, or it didn't iron good enough, or you use the vehicle and you bring it back without gas, or you bounce the vehicle somewhere, they get a little dent, you could barely see it on the bumper. But they see it. And that starts the third phase. But then again, domestic violence is not always about hitting. It isn't. There are some people who I would have dealt with over the years. My clients would have told me, Miss, better hit me. than what I went through. They play on your mental. They play on your mental. And we know as Trinidadians, we are quite creative. Very creative. You see me with your two eyes down the road talking to someone, but we know how to read body language, right? So we see you talking to someone, normal conversation, no big thing. But then we see you talking to someone. How you going? You're good? Right?
Yeah.
They're having a conversation also. Different type of body language. And you say, well, you know, I saw someone looking like you today talking to X, but you look like you're in a compromising position. You had to be mad or something. You seeing things. We are sitting on the road, by the way. You come looking for me or what? Yes, that's my cousin. You don't know, but how I don't know that one? So you know all the family? Okay? So you get the mind games. Mental abuse. And we have it in all forms. We have financial abuse. You working, your party working. But you have to come home and report how much money you make today. At the end of the month, how much money you make. You have to write down what you spend it on and give a balance of how much you have remained. That sounds strange?
No.
I talk in facts. I talk in what I know. Right? You have to give a report. But I work for my money. Yes, if we are in a relationship, we expect to discuss our finances. But why does you only want to know mine and I don't know yours? So you have the financial abuse. What do you want the money to do? Okay, if you're going, I go in the grocery with you. You take up this bottle of water. You need that? And you have half bottle home? No, you don't need it. Put it back. You need that? No, ma'am. We'll be by that on next time. You're going shopping for your personal effects because you know the ladies, what we need at the end of the month to restock on. And they're going with you. Why are you buying so much? You using all that? No, take up one soap. 2 soap is too many. You all could relate? Okay? So, we are in a relationship. So, no disrespect. The clothes that we wear under our overclothes, you have to buy new ones from time to time. But you don't need it. But it have hole. Sew it and fix it. But I sew it already and where I sew tear back. And this is reality, I'm telling you. Everything, where you going? How long you going for? Who you going by? I know them. No, I never meet them, you can't go nowhere. This is both sides of the fence, this happens, huh? You're not going nowhere, you ever say, give me the car keys, it's your car. Give me the car keys, I say you're not going anywhere. And you don't hand over the keys, I'm not gonna understand. And that is some of the main things that happen within the domestic violence situation. And then, as mothers, you know what? I would be anxious. Because the children running like this. One in arm and the rest running so. who am I going by with my 4 children? Family might give you shelter for the night, but you need shelter for a longer period of time. I'm not able to see about them now. What am I to do? You're between a rock and a hard place. And then you might hear, if you're leaving the house, leave the children behind. So, as mothers, we don't want to leave our children behind. So we stay and we take and we take until you leave them behind in another way. We need to empower ourselves. We sit, our self-esteem gets affected, and I can't do this, and I can't do that, and if I do this, what will happen? You got to fight. That's what you got to do. You got to make a plan, and you got to work your plan. You hear me? Make your plan and work your plan. And there's always someone who is willing to assist you in the execution of your plan. It might be the least suspecting person. Maybe the same neighbor you don't want to speak to. Might be the same neighbor to come to your assistance. You don't have no time to study about who outside are going to know your business. We live in a fast place. We live in a precocious world. So they're minding your business whether or not you put it outside. Right? Make your plan and get it going. First thing you have to think about, if you're moving with children, how am I going to keep my children and myself safe? We have community police, community-oriented police. And I know this office here calls us from time to time to assist with reports. And we welcome the reports, because that is one way of reaching out to someone. We may not be the ones who might have to deal with it actually, but we will know who to transfer them on to. There's always a way. You might need to get in making your plan, you might have to wait for an opportunity to escape. Because you know, some of them, they are wrong. They're making themselves present 24/7. They don't want to get up and go to the people work, but they want to sit down to look at you. You make your plan. Must have some time. They must sleep. 2 things human beings like to do. They must sleep. And at some point in time, they must step away. Most persons have a phone. Send a message to the person who is helping you. Listen, I go in and put a garbage bag by the road. Make sure I pass it in a certain time. There's my children clothes in it. So I don't want the rubbish truck to go with it. Little by little, you put what you need. You're going to take the whole wardrobe to make them whatever. The wardrobe was where all the clothes going. No. The children's basket was filled with stuff and their closet was full of. No. Take what you need. Put it in a bag. Throw it over your neighbor fence if you're in the neighborhood. So when you see it come over, just keep it for me. You understand what I'm saying? It may sound strange, but it's part of your plan. Your documents, your ID card, your passport, your driver's permit if you have all those. Whatever you have to be able to identify you your children immunization card. Always make sure you have copies of those things. Because you mightn't be able to move with the original, but you have copies. Everybody have a phone, take pictures. Put it in the bag when you train the clothes over the fence. Right? So you have proof. And you wait for your opportunity. As I didn't say, you wait for the first. You see the first? I say yes, the opportunity. And you get out. You will survive. You will survive. It may be hard at first, but you will survive. Because we live in a society, even though we are precocious, as I said earlier, there are still people out there who are willing to help. We have a soft spot for children. So when they see when they ban at children, the children eat anything for the day. They might quicker give the children something to eat and leave you up without any. But as a mother, you know that it's not a problem. So we are not to take the children and make them an excuse to stay. Some of us think about house. I with them so many years. I put in all this work. I put in money into this house. I'm not leaving. I have a share in this. You also have to share in this public cemetery. You're not leaving, you're not leaving, you're not leaving. What are you fighting for? Your life or brick and mortar? Which one is more important? To why we make a house, a structure that can crumble around us. So important. You can build another one. If you're not in a position to build another one, you will find shelter in another one. That is not important. Your life is important. Your children's mental health is important. Your mental health is important. And we are finding more and more as the days go by that we have a lot of people walking around with mental issues. Not that they're mad, Depression, the number one killer. And exactly, anxiety. You can't sleep at night. High blood pressure, diabetes, they like to say, is a lifestyle disease. You're afraid of your shadow. Why? You have to love you. That is the first thing. If you cannot love you, you cannot love nobody. Staying in a relationship that isn't working, you don't love yourself. You feel you love the person. You may love what they have to give you. But do you really love that person? Because when you eventually let the sense come in and the foolishness go out and you realize, but wait, I really take all that? Let me love me up. Love me up. And you realize you see the person walking down the road 3 to 6 months later and they're watching them and what do you want with me? I was me? Man, something ain't right. You're on that spell. Because you're no longer under all the suppression that you were experiencing when you were in that relationship. You're loving yourself now. You realize that in loving yourself, you love people differently. And this is a mistake as women we make. We watch a man, we find him pretty in face, He drives in a nice car. He in a good job. He could carry you out for drinks. He could take you to the restaurant. He could take you to the movies, the theater, the whatever. And he born nice. I love him. Really? All that is just surface. You have to get to know yourself and get to know the person in the way you would like them to know you, to understand what is love. So love yourself. Love yourself. Get up in the morning, watch in the mirror and say, hey, how are you going today? You're good? You are going to have a great day today. I am a child of God and I'm a survivor. You go to work, somebody gets you vexed on work, you don't have to respond in a negative. You don't. You don't even need to respond. You get you vexed, you count down, and you say, you know what? Better work out. That's part of loving yourself. Because you deal with people on a different level when you do. So understand that. So I am saying, if you know someone in this domestic violence cycle, and they're on the wheel going around and around and around, it's time to get off. Help them. If it is you, there are windows for you to use to get out. And as I said, so you all understand the domestic violence situation I'm speaking about. So let's roll over. So we in this relationship, we have our children being exposed to the, it might not always be obscene language. You know, we could use the English language and still be hurtful with it. Because they put you down, your children are looking on. No matter how much door they close, when the bacchanal is going on, they are hearing. When the cough and the kick pass, they are seeing. When the conversations are going on, some of them right in the middle of it. And especially our boy children, mothers, our boy children, for those of you who have sons, what do they do? Anyone? I'm not really talking about if they're going to follow what they see, but how do they relate to you? We know that our boy children are very close to their mothers. And we say the girls are close to their fathers. So here it is, your son is looking on as the, why is daddy, or whoever the person may be, whether it's stepdaddy or whoever, is getting on like that with my mother. They don't understand, and as time goes along, why is mommy taking it? And you find that they start to draw closer to you in some instances. And they want to be a protector. They see daddy or stepdaddy or uncle or however they address them, come in, and they sense that something isn't right, they get between. Is that the function of your child? No. So why do we leave them exposed to it? Our girls are there looking on. Not me. This is, I'm just demonstrating how the young ladies that I encounter get on. Not me. She's stupid. When you see I get my chance, no matter doing me this, you know. And it rolls over. So here we are in the school situation. We have children who don't know how to deal with situations when it is thrown at them. We have some of them coming to school ready to start anything. And then we say, what is going on with these children? I am not saying all the youths outside there who are fighting like they're in WWE, coming from a home where there's domestic violence, and don't get me wrong. But I am also saying that those who are exposed to the different types of abuse are walking around with a chip on their shoulder. It's called anger. Every day when we go out on the field, we do encounter angry youths. To have a normal conversation with them, how are you going? What? Talking to me? Asking a child a simple question like, how are you? I'm an adult that opposes you. That's how they see us. Because home, the battling. And now they come out in society, they feel they have to battle also. Again, don't get me wrong, not all the children who are battling comes from homes of domestic violence. So let us not add to what is already out there. Let us save them as early as possible. Take up your Georgie bundle. A camel hump is never too big for them to walk with. A kangaroo has a deep pocket. Make your pocket and take your little ones and go with them. And for the men who are in the room, if you know that they are men, and as you rightly said, sir, there some of them are ashamed. Because why? Because there's a nice young thing on your arm. And you're rocking with them, and they're looking nice. And behind closed doors, trust me, the wings fell off. The wings fell off. The halo come off, and the little angel, everybody watching about, oh, she's so nice, and it's such a lovely match.
Inside is man and outside is God. And it's sure because remember they kind of
yeah, or the ego is in front of them.
It's difficult for a man to go to a police station and say, oh, I beaten me.
Exactly. And I can tell you it is fact. Because years ago, when community police just came about, our officers originally in San Fernando Police Station, I always remember the first case that came in from a male victim. He ran to the charge room first. And of course, men meeting men, boy, you take that and then somebody else said, come, go down by that office there. And he came to community office. Tears running down his face. He's what you would call a good husband. Going to work in a very good job, coming home. To go out, he must ask permission. When he gets pay, he must not take a cent out of the pay packet. He must bring the pay packet for she to open, because she's looking outside on the packet as though the amount that he's supposed to receive. And if when she counts it, there's $1 missing,
accountability
is war. This is facts I'm telling you all. Right? She will take out the money for X, Y, and Z. And he will stand up and wait. And then she'll ask, what you waiting on? Well, I want to go to the boys on Friday. I could get $100 at least. I would think about it. that he's driving to work, when the time reaches quarter, she will give him money to put gas. She knows how much it takes to pull it back up. So imagine your son going through something like that. And then one day, he came home early from work. He wasn't feeling well. He came home early from work and he met her cooking. In a better way to describe it. He met her cooking.
Yeah.
And he got so shocked. He pushed her down and he ran out the house. Of course, when she got pushed, she would have hit herself and whatnot and whatnot. And he ran straight to the police station because he knew he was going to get in trouble for pushing them away. And that man sat down in our office for 4 hours. Out of that 4 hours, he cried for 1 hour straight. He said, I did everything that you're supposed to do. What it is I did wrong. And it was really heart-rendering because you know what? Here, most of the ladies in the office had sons. And the men we had in the office, they have sons. And you are saying to yourself, I would like to meet that person who treated my son so. Because it's natural human. So something had to be wrong with that individual for her to treat this person like that. But eventually we got him the help that he needed and everything, and he was able to move on with his life, thank God. Of course she put up a fight. But by the time the matter reached the court, she realized she would have lost her fight. Because it was years and years of abuse that he was out of in different forms. So our men do get abuse. So when you're raising your sons, ladies, you know, we raise them to be men. But we do not raise them to be fools. There's always writing on the wall, as we always say. There are always signs. Just as there are signs, so when you are going into a relationship, you will see it, but you will ignore it. Men, you have friends, talk to them, speak to them, because they will see the sign, but because they, as we like to say in Trinidad language, they're nice, they're pretty. In front of your friends and then they show you a nice face. Behind your back, watch how they, behind your friends' back, watch how, and your family back, watch how they get on. Talk to your friends. Talk to your sons. Because we have a lot of mentally damaged people out there. They present a picture to you and then it's something more. So as I say, love yourself. Be a brother or a sister keeper if you could help. Sometimes because of the person's behavior, you don't really want to get too involved because some people, I want to help you, but I don't want her name called. Nothing wrong with that. We have anonymous calls. You could come and make a report to our office. We don't have to say who did it. We just need the information. You have people that you can call, the hotlines that you can call. Call them. They normally pass back the information to us. But let's save someone today. If not yourself, let's save a friend, a family member, whoever it may be. For the young people out there who are fighting, we got to pray for our children. Because it isn't normal for a young person to look at someone like themselves and do so on their head, or do so into their ribs, that is no longer fighting. That has intent. That means I want you to desist from existing. So if you know that there are children outside there who are carrying on like that, we need to help them. We really do. And if you have a child who is exposed to that kind of violence, they are the victims, they need to think before you act. Because yes, when they get the message that your child was involved in a fight and they just stabbed them with a pen in the head, or they just kick them up, as they would like to say, or to take something from them, and you're waiting for the school to call, and you don't get that call, and the child reach home and tell you what happened, you need to count backwards and try to be as sane as possible for when you go to the school to get your information. Because where you expect to get it, you don't always get it. And there's a course of action that you can take. So, with that being said, are there any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Somebody who is getting verbal abuse, what do they do?
In what situation? Domestic violence situation?
Yeah.
In domestic situation?
The person don't lash them,
Mm-hmm.
he just puts them down.
Mm-hmm. So your self-esteem,
Verbal abuse.
eventually that
If it's
person is
talking
going
to
to suffer.
anybody, they have a problem with it.
Okay.
The person can't talk to nobody, they can't go out nowhere. Yeah.
Eventually that person, if by now they're not depressed, one day the depression is going to show up in a very negative form.
They have that already.
They have depression.
Yeah.
So they need to get out. They need to get out. You know, we have men who love to hate women. They are called misogynists. Right? They love the woman, but they hate the woman because of whatever they might have experienced in their past. And sometimes they may not be hitting, but as you rightly say, the verbal abuse, because that is the only way they feel they can get to you. And you know what, women, there's a saying that women's strength is their mouth. We could say something sometimes that could cause a whole city to fall.
So true. And when we display this type of behavior, especially in front of our sons, we are affecting their self-esteem. So when they grow up and they have their own, they say, my mother used to be saying some of these things. I will be saying it to you now as a female. Because my mother used to say some hurtful things to me. It don't always have to be like that. But a lot of times when you trace back, that is how it is. So if she's experiencing that, and she has reached a point where her self-esteem is low, she's suffering from depression. Depression kills you. Because when you become so depressed, you start to think along the lines of suicide. And if not suicide, I will take you out, all the children and myself. We don't need that. So you need to help her, help herself to get out of that situation. Forget the material things. You could always get back that, no matter how old you are. You mightn't get back everything, but once you have peace of mind, which is very important, there's nothing to beat peace of mind. You get up in the morning and you send your children to school. Let's say you're home.
What do you do? Now get a cup of tea or a glass of juice or something and sit down for 5 minutes and say, yes, thank you, Lord, the house is quiet. Peace of mind. M-I-N-D, not M-I-N-E. M-I-N-D, peace of mind. So she needs to get her peace of mind. And I guess if she attended suicide, it means that she's attending clinic. Okay, see me off.
I will.
Yes. Because there are things that, there are services that are available that we might be able to get to go in and do extraction. Any other questions?
So, Ms. Trudy,
Yes?
right. So, I have a cousin, right? No. I have a cousin. Let me say, I want them abuse, right? But the head is in the beginning. I have a cousin. Apparently, she and her husband have this little, whatever, personal misunderstanding that they straight right to. She decided to dress, and she got to go out. It looked nice, right? Meet a friend, end up dating, right? Going home a few months. And it's because apparently she really went to the person twice, right? And the husband, like he realized, a difference. I said restaurant girl, but it started was very, very nice, and he questioned her one side street like, are you seeing somebody? Tell me the truth, and what he said. And she kept saying, no, me, no. Eventually, jam in the corner, tell me the truth. I want to know the truth. I've seen a difference in you. And she said, yes, but it just happened twice, and he started to hit her. He started to beat her, right? To my hair there. So she ended up now, when she left, she went and stayed by another family of mine, so with the 2 children, 8 years and 5 years, or 2 boys. And because all the like of her PBL is okay, she gone for a few days, but keep calling her every minute, video call to see exactly
Where she is.
So she ended up telling him she had another cousin, where she ended up telling him. And he knew the person, and eventually what he did, well, before that he did hook up, Google had this thing where you could link your phone to my phone, you could read all the WhatsApp messages, you could see all
Yeah,
so he did
pull up
that.
the location.
Right, pull up the location, all that. So he did all that. So before he could see all the conversation she had with the Miss Man, conversation with her friends, all of that, right? So it reached her home. Right. However,
Gone
she
to
really-
divorce and taking children.
no, and hear anything. He wants her to come back. He wants his children, he wants her, he keep talking, and she and all keep, talking to him. He will go by where she's staying. She will go and pack up in the car, sit down in the car, talking to him, and all these kind of things, right? Because he wants back his wife, and he wanted to stop seeing the man, and he wanted to start all over again. But she ended up going back home, She ended up going back home with him. He said he was sorry, he wouldn't need to hit her, but he lies and all of that. She went back home, but she's not happy. She is not happy at the moment, right? Because at the end of the day, to me, what I think, he will consistently asking her about, or bringing up that to her then, and that could affect her mentally, right? And even the part with probably going back to bed and things, he will have that in his mind. And those things too could be like revenge intercourse. You understand? So he may not hit her again, but
the behavior.
the behavior and he will
Trying to punish her.
Yeah.
His behavior.
You understand?
Because his ego was
Right.
affected.
So when you look at it, the wrong part that he really did was to hit her because of that
if she know that she wasn't happy in the marriage,
When she come back.
you wasn't happy in the marriage, you stepped outside of the marriage.
And you see what you said earlier on? And I just always say a house is not a home, right? But at the end of the
Honestly,
day,
is loving it.
and they build, well,
Oh, you're talking about the structure.
Structure is
Yes.
not a home.
Yes,
I just want to say a house is not a home. Like
exactly.
you have the biggest, nicest house on the block, and your living is not nice.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
not, it won't be a
And my whole thing, I just kind of, because she really, because she said, they build the house together, these kind of things. Build the house
So the person she
together.
was friendly with don't have a house?
No, good question.
Not that I meant to be blunt or anything. I deal with reality.
That's right.
If you know you're going to put a horn on the man, and you know you're fed up of him, you don't want no part of him, listen, do the right thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do the right thing.
Because in this instance, I say she wrote,
Yeah, because
and he wrote just because
both of
yeah.
them have wrong. But who it is was wrong in the first instance? She was. Okay, if you're bored in the and this is the thing. We get ourselves in relationships and children come into play and a lot of things happen. We get caught up with work, seeing about the house, seeing about the car, seeing about the children. And the last two persons we say about is the other person you're involved with and yourself. And then we start to, and you get boring and this and that. We tend to forget what it is got us there. So you have to remember what got you there still plays an important role. You still need to date, not because you're married and in a relationship. You still need to date,
Yeah, but my thing,
to keep it alive.
and the two children, they're so bright. When I mean, they intelligent, they know exactly what's going on because they can talk us about this thing. So when she went, she moved out by the cousin, right, the next cousin, so much about us. The girl said, the little one, both of them were not singing and what? This farmer not be so natural, my son, and a garbage bag.
Oh, yes.
Or whatever.
That's so.
Yeah, whatever. So, the thing is, when they went back, right, when they was going back to the past, and I was talking to them and thing. So I said, yeah, are they going home and thing? Yeah, yes, auntie, and thing. And the thing is, what I'm trying to sing, this song, the latest song with Nadia, somebody sing this, Nadia. What do you call it, this girl. Just now, I just want to tell you this song. No, the young girl, Rashmati grandchild.
Oh, no, like,
Rashmati grandchild, she sings come home to me. So the children start to sing, I need you in my life or something. So I just sing it. I said, well, what's going on with these children? And I need you back into my life. Come home to me. Come home. So the children now, they're happy because the mother and the father. And the little one say, he tell the mother, he said, Mommy, I want to share my love equal. Half for you and half for them.
Yeah.
sure.
To something you're saying.
Yes.
So, just to clear up credential-wise, I have a master's in clinical social work and the author of Financial Hardships of Domestic Violence and Youth in the Caribbean. PhD social work, I have done from the other side of what Ms. has talked about. So even in situations like that, ladies, we need to, and gentlemen, you need to get it into your head. Domestic violence, and what we call domestic violence, is not just, as Ms. Ayum said, kick and cuff. We socialize our young people, and some of us are closer to 60 and over 60 like me, and we have a few young ones. Sorry, I don't mean to do it, but it hurts me. We need to let our young people and us as the women, the mothers, the older ones, you have to break the cycle. Because we are brought up to believe that we as women, you have to get married, you have to have children, the man has to go and work, you have to do this and you have to do that. The boys, a big part of domestic violence, the answer is us, the mothers. Because you have to bring up your boys to understand that they have to have respect. How many times you've heard mothers say, I want to see my husband washing, my son washing wells. What is the problem with being self-reliant? But going to that specific situation, the other one I'll let you on, but going to that specific situation, those children have been scarred. Whether they realize it or not, when they become adults, they are going to take whatever they have seen, they have heard, internalize it, and act it out as adults in their relationships. If you are happy in a relationship, it is not so easy to walk away, but as Ms. Ayum says, there are options. You make a mistake, okay, we all make mistakes. Counseling, first of all, is key. Go to the community police and they can put you on to 800 SAVE, to National Family Services, to Channel, all that. But it is important that whatever these issues are that we all have, that we deal with them in a way that resolves them. Otherwise, we carry it on. We talk about the children and violence. A bully is a bully because they have been powerless in another situation. That is what makes a bully. Now I have power over you. So what was done to me or what I could not have control over, I will now take control of it. That is a recipe for danger that will end up by Ms. Ayum and her colleagues. They need to separate, step away, get the right counsel and decide that this is where they need to be. Because like her, I have seen and heard and been party to things you would not believe. We sit here and we think they're normal because we see them every day.
Yes.
You will be, as a cousin, you need to speak to the rest of the family. First off, when he beat her up and she moved, you need a protection order. Protection order, and Ms. Ayum can talk to that. The law has been changed to allow for protection and care for both parties. Not just the victims, but the perpetrators as well. And that's a lecture for a different time. But they need to get this pretending that everything is okay and back to normal is a recipe for disaster.
And question, is the third party still in the middle?
I don't think so, no, because, no, I don't think so.
I hope not.
I don't think so.
I would suggest another third party will come up because whatever that need is that is not
Not
being
being met,
fulfilled.
yes.
It could be the same third party, the same way that you want to take cool down and then, the
That's what
matter.
You need to talk to her. You need to have a family meeting. Yes, because the children, as Shred rightly said, they are the ones who have been scarred. So we have to treat the children, we have to treat the two adults.
Yes.
Because he has been hurt, his emotions has come into play. She is unhappy with her lifestyle and whatever else is going on with her, and she got her happiness elsewhere. And even though she may have gone back into the relationship, she's still thinking about that happiness, whether it was fleeting or otherwise. So you need to do some.
That's right.
And isn't the reality that the church will go either way, either side of the coin? In other words, daddy beats up mommy, as a boy, I will never hit my wife.
Yes.
To the point that I think abuse a boy hitting my wife.
Yes.
And the girls, mom used to take lash, I'm not taking lash. So the slightest thing that happens, they put her run so they don't stay in a relationship and try to work it out because they don't want to be mommy.
Mommy, yes, that is so true.
And then there's the other set who will take their business because this is what I know. Yeah.
So we have a lot of hurt people, as they say. And that has been going on. We've been hurt in different ways and we go out and we express it to other people. So, So we have a lot of healing to do. Any more questions?
What about if a person is being verbally abused?
Verbally.
Right?
Mhm.
Well, I'm going to tell a story, right? So, my daughter grandmother came crying one day, and she sat down on the couch. I asked her, I said, "What's wrong?" Right? She said that her husband was verbally and, well, I should say physically abusive to her. She told me that he has been hitting her for years because he drinks, right? And when he drinks, he gets violent, right? And at that time, she can't talk to him. So he came home and he hit her. And here I am in shock. So I want to know what's going on at this point in time. And she told me, she said she got so fed up to the point where she just feel to do him something. So here it is. She calls me on a Wednesday. And he had just come home from drinking. And they are on the banister and he's outside. And he's raising his voice and he is getting on in a really bad way and stuff like that. And she said, I couldn't take it anymore. She starts to strangle him, right, at this point in time. And she's holding on to him and she's strangling him. And she says the knife is right there on the counter, but the first thing that runs into her mind, she's thinking about her grandchild. Don't do this, don't do this. Because she's so angry, right, because of the years of verbal and physical abuse. So she lets him go. And after that, he never hit her, but he is constantly like verbally abusive to her, right? So I let her know, well, if this is the situation, you need to leave. You need to walk away. But she's thinking about, okay, she put money into the house that she has there, all this stuff is mine and I bought her. I said, but think about it, right? Material things, right? Doesn't really matter because you need to leave, right? And she said, well, after that day, he never hit me again. I said, but he is verbally abusive towards you. He tells you things, nasty things, right? And I said, you need to realize that you are not just a mother, but you're also a grandmother as well. And you can't keep taking that, right? Now, she came down as a young woman from Grenada. So she tells herself that she don't really have anyone that she could turn to, because even though she turned to family members, you know, sometimes they doesn't want you to stay for a long period of time with them, right?
Yeah.
After probably a certain amount of time, they will want you to leave, and that is what taken place at the moment.
Okay. So she left. She didn't leave.
No, she's there right now.
Where, in the home?
In the home.
Okay. So you're dealing with an alcoholic. An alcoholic is not an alcoholic until they admit that they have an alcohol problem. You understand what I'm saying? Right? And to get an alcoholic to admit that they have an alcohol problem can be very, very challenging. So she has been exposed to that over the years. And I guess by now they're maybe in their 60s,
Yes.
going up.
Well, he's a little older than her.
Right.
He's in his 70s, she's in her 60s, yeah.
Wow.
So,
Okay. Okay. So at that age, at 70 plus, at that age, getting someone like that and that they have an alcohol problem can be challenging. So she has to see about her. If he has been drinking alcohol all these years, he has shortened his life. And I'm not calling anything on the individual, don't misunderstand me. But she needs to protect herself. And she may find it difficult to leave after being there all these years. But peace of mind, as I said, is always better. Where you're going, you may not know, but she came from Grenada. She has family in Grenada. Can she go on a vacation?
Yes, she can. Yes, she can.
Go on a vacation, you are away from the situation, and even being out of state, as we put it, it may give her some clarity as to how exactly to move forward with a situation like that. Because it's unfair. Here you are in your 60s going up. At that point in time, you're supposed to be relaxing, enjoying your life. And you have to deal with the antagonism of an alcoholic, which I know can go from one extreme to the next. As much as I'm a police officer, this may sound bad, I'm only human. My tolerance level for alcoholics is 0. Reason being, and again they say, when you go through experiences, it affect you. I had an uncle. He was the darling of an uncle until he drinks on a Friday. When he comes home, we are his nieces and nephews. He loved to have the children around because they had no children of their own. He will treat us like princess and princess. And when he comes home on a Friday, if we are there vacationing, he's not interfering with us, you know. He will call that wife. It's not to say that he was violent, like he didn't know. He was not that type. He will come home, sit down on his chair in the corner, and he will call that wife over and over and over and over, continuously, until she reaches a point and say, "Stop calling me! Stop calling me! I tell you, I can't take it no more! Stop calling me!" And she'll get up like that, and it's like, that would be her breaking point. Why don't you go in your bed and sleep? You're disgusting with this behavior. No obscene language or anything, huh? But he will just be calling her name. And we used to be in another part of the house listening to this. And when he calls her name, every time he calls her name, he will say, So let's suppose her name is Anne, which it wasn't. He'll say, Anne. Anne. And we took it as a joke because, we are just children and we hearing this and it's something amusing to us. But psychologically, it was affecting her. It was affecting her. And today, because of that, whenever I see someone who is under the influence of alcohol to the point where they don't know themselves and they're walking and they're drifting and falling on by the road, it's like, I always hear that back in my head. So the means that you didn't know when to stop. Right? So there it is. And that's just me as a third party. So you're
just like what you said there.
He will say to his grandchildren, he will drink around them. But as soon as no one is in the house, and she's there alone, when he drinks, he takes out
his frustration around her.
Verbally.
So what he wants, the house to remain filled with children? To behave? No, she needs to get out for a while. If it's to go back to Grenada or go anywhere else on a long vacation. So when he realizes that he has no one to terrorize, maybe he might stop. He might lessen down on his intake. But at that age he's at there, it's very difficult for him to admit that he's an alcoholic. So she is caught between a rock and a hard place, but again, she needs to go out there and, we think that AA is only for people who have an alcohol problem. AA is also for the victims for the victims of alcoholics. They can go there and, attending meetings. For those that I have interacted with, not the alcoholics, the victims of the alcoholics, some of them say they do get some sort of redress, you know, but she needs to find a way out because she needs peace. She needs peace. So have a chat with her again and see if you can help her go on a little vacation away from him. He will survive. He will survive when he realizes he has no one to terrorize. He may just, you know, we have to hope. Right? Anyone else? Okay, so with, yes ma'am?
Good night.
Good night.
I have a question. I have a friend named Sarah. She has twins with her boyfriend that they're married as Muslim. And I was there when he was drinking his rum. And as soon as he drank his rum and everything, he would start to get on with her and everything. Like, I mean, like if she don't cook in time, or wash his clothes, or if she's not like twins, like boys and girls could, right? No, it's 5 here. But it's too fair. And it had a night, as I go up and spend weekend with her because she doesn't get time to comb her hair or to see about the other children. So he went out with his friends and she said, why don't you stay on the trip with me? I had a mouth that thing. He said he does not drink a couple of minutes and he'll come back. He stayed all night and came back about after 1 minute or two. That I had to go to the next day. Well, he wake up me and she because I heard when he was hitting her and getting on the street, and she said at all to stop, and he said no. He continued to shoot and she, so I get up and I kind of drop the way, and she told me to go and call her mother. So when I tried to go and call her mother, no, he stopped me. I said, the only day which you live in my house, right? And I kind of with my friend at the end of the day, which I himself since day one, right? And if this is that all the time, we get all goes up good ways, he says he's not leaving. My time he packed his basket, he lived by up the road, and then next 2 days, he will come back and apologize, sweet talk and thing. So the night when he did that, I came out from the place, I went to her mother and told her mother I'm doing with that. And you see the little things on her hand, and then the next day he told me, I said, oh, he's sorry. I said, sorry. I said, this is wrong what you're doing. And then he turned around and told me, I thought this is none of my business. I said, anyway, this is not my business, but this is my friend.
Yes.
So my mom told me about 2 weeks ago, she eat her vomit, meaning not what she was nothing.
So, okay, so let me understand this. He is living at her home.
Yeah, that she belonged.
Her mother lives in that same home?
She lived down here and she lived up here.
Same property?
Yeah.
One property.
Mm-hmm.
Property belongs to the mother. You said they're married under Muslim rights? He's a Muslim? Drinking alcohol? He has an imam? He has an imam? He goes to the mosque?
No, she has.
Well, okay, so in that instance, she needs to speak to the senior woman in the mosque to get to the imam to speak to him. That is one course of action she can take. Secondly, if the property belongs to the mother, if the mother is concerned about her daughter, sometimes you have to forget about he being the husband or whatever. The mother can go to the court and get a document. Is a court order. She can get the the protection order.
If I day she saw me last week and she actually was crying after her man. She said, he getting on she and he cousin she and then she done with the twins. I say, what to come back for a weekend? You know, there's walk with the mattress and with the shrimp pampers and clothes. She turned and say, how she's gonna manage with the other two children to go to school. I said, well, if that, as I say, on my whole week, we're going to do that because this how it's coming, he's not going to stop, right? So it's like that. Right?
So a protection order is a necessity right about now. And in getting the protection order, if she cannot get out to go to the court, the mother can go on her behalf and get it to cover the mother, the grandchildren, and the daughter. And explaining to the court of his behavior, they can put in the order where he has to stay X amount of meters from her. X amount of meters is outside the yard. So as far as they're concerned, they can go live in the room. And when you get a protection order, of course, we have the interim order, which they come into play immediately. You can go to the court and get it the same day.
Right.
And the interim order is in effect for 2 weeks. Within that 2 weeks, they will call your matter to get the full protection order. During that time, during that 2 weeks, when that interim order is in place, and that interim order says he has to stay 500 meters away from her, he cannot come anywhere close to where she's living. Neither the children. You were supposed to remember you had children before you started your behavior. So it means to say, it's not the first time he has been abusive to women. Right? So, if she is willing to get that protection order, you can speak to her. She is willing to get that protection order and she's afraid to go, her mother can go on her behalf.
But right now, so she don't have a cell phone because when I tried to call her, like the last week, I think I won't get to her. So when I call her mother on her house phone, I call her camera to ask her what's going on. I said, everything is okay. She said, yes. I said, what's going on with them? She said, well, he can't. And I said, he can't for now. But he went to, I said, drink is wrong. And he told me later and everything. He's going to react again. Right? And I said, I understand it. It's my friend. I care about her. And then she said, anyhow, I cannot busy. I'll call you later. She never did call me back.
Because he was horrible.
Yeah, she can't talk.
She can't talk. So the abuse is escalated. So you need to speak to her mother and formulate a plan and see what can happen. Because you don't want him to feel, well, okay, I got the friend to stay away and I got this one to stay away, which they do. They separate you from family and friends, and then they have you all to yourself, and then you get flowers. So we don't want it to reach like that. So you are now challenged to make a plan with her mother and see if you can go. If the mother needs the support, you'll go and get that interim order, and they will come to the station with the interim order, and the sergeant of the station supposed to get a copy of it, and he's either send out a corporal or go to himself and ask the gentleman, well, sir, it says you have to stay 1,000 meters away. 1,000 meters is not outside the fence. It means you have to find somewhere else to reside. If you want to start to carry on, there are things in place that accommodate you. Simple. Right? She's in fear of her life right now, and then maybe to what she's looking at is that here I have 4 and 5. And even though he's drinking, you know, he may be still supporting the family. No.
Yeah, that's what she said. And she said to her, also she's not working. He is supporting, but by
How old are the twins?
there's baby still.
Baby like what age?
About a year or so.
Oh, toddler. There's a difference between baby and toddlers. So I can get myself a job even if it's half day, put my child in daycare, my children others in daycare, get a job half day. Half a loaf is better than none. 5.
Yeah.
Half a loaf is better than none.
In addition to which, even if they only make her, he is still under the law.
Yes. Responsible for them. Yes.
So he still has to provide.
Exactly. So he could get a maintenance order very easy. Yep.
That's what
And if you don't pay it, you know, you just go up the road and come back down and start to pay the money, right?
You could go back to my parents, by your father and your mother, and when they get paid, you buy pampers and milk and things. He said, no, he's not going, because he said he's buying everything, food, groceries.
So what?
So she can't work right
Yeah,
now.
other people, why she can't work right now? After she made the children, she had a physical problem.
She just, well, I told her about the sicker book. I said, sir, if I'm telling her how fair would you fair? She said, how she was not, she was determined. I said, put them in daycare or let her watch them.
There are some daycares that because of your circumstances, they are willing to keep the children for you for free. Just make sure and bring them milk and the pampers. So you realize what is going on there. Her self-esteem is already challenged. Right? So that is why I'm saying you have to work with the mother. You have to work with the mother to start that work process going. Get that process going. Right? And if you say she's okay, so it is easy for you to go to mosque. You know, so what she does with the twins when she's going to mosque? She carries them with her.
No, she managed to watch them for a couple hours.
Well, ma'am, you can watch them a couple hours and you go to work on a morning from 8 to 12.
And they can give mommy a little change.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, because she's in fear. She's in fear of the person, one, and two, she may be thinking, I don't want to lose another relationship.
And she said, I know boy love her. I said, that is not love. I said, if she said that he can hit you and talk about saying that you're always smiling and this and that is not love. So she just taking what she's getting from the person because the end of the day, he is surviving because she would go through some market and this and that.
What area she lives?
She doesn't have that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Okay. I will reach out to one of our cops officers who's attached to Gasbro. They'll give me some information. And I will ask her if maybe she could pay a visit to the group and see what can happen. But as I said again, trying to see if we could get her mom to get you. That means you have to go Princess Town. Princess Town Court. Family Court is in Princess Town. So you could go to Princess Town, Family Court, get the interim order, and take it from there. So hard bagging falls on the Gasbro police. Is that it?
Party done.
So at this time, I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me a hearing. And remember what I would have shared. Remember what your sisters would have shared and how we responded. And most important, love yourself. Be a friend to your sister, not necessarily blood. The men, look out for your brothers out there. And let us see if we can make a change. If we start with one, we will continue. And that one will help someone else. So thank you very much for your time. And it's always a pleasure. No problem. Thank you very much.
Nobody gets away in this permanently. I'm so sorry. Trying something And this time, In our midst, we do have Julia. I'm going to ask her to come and move a vote of thanks at this time for us. You are most welcome.
MP for Sando East, Mr. Manning, my fellow ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Officer Ayum, for taking your time as a community police officer to have this very important discussion. Community police is perhaps our best response to issues of domestic violence, school violence, youth violence, and family situations. What you've shared with us here today for these ladies, I'm sure would make a difference, that it helps give them the tools to be able to help other women. Because as has been said before, perhaps the women who needed to be here the most, or the men who didn't come. And we know that's what usually happens.
Yes.
Because they won't come in a public forum and face the issues because it's so difficult to them, for them. But many of you have spoken about situations you know of that you're personally involved in, and all of the information that Officer Ayum so generously shared, I'm sure now you'll be able to take back and be able to use it to help others. And as she said, we start with one. We help one person, we pay it forward, and we see the benefit not just in this generation, but in the generations to come. I hope this is not just the last time, and we will see you many more times, as well with your other colleagues for the various other things that we need in our community. And on behalf of our hardworking chairwoman, our MP, and all the members of the Sando East Women's League, I thank you tonight, and I hope you enjoy your work.
Women, we are working hard. At this time, I'm going to ask you to stand as we close with a word of prayer. We close just the way we start. I'm going to ask my very good friend, Stephanie, please close us in a word of prayer.
I really just want to thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for all the ladies and gentlemen who are here. Father, whatever situation that we may be going through, God, I pray God that you're just going to cover us, you're just going to take it away, God. Father, God, just build our strength, strengthen us when we weakness lie. I know it's hard on our Father, but we could always come to you. Let us keep us one another. Help your brother, help your sister, and just don't let them fall behind. And it's hard, God, but I ask you, God, to strengthen us as we leave here, Father, God, for that to take us safely to our home. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much.